Hey, I'm a Ween. Hey, you're a Ween. And we're watching a screen.
What a fantastic intro.
What's going on, everybody?
So we saw Avengers Infinity War.
It was pretty good.
Yeah, no, it was okay.
One thumb. Okay, so non-spoilers for everyone that hasn't seen it. If you like the MCU films, you're gonna like this one. It's very similar to all the rest. Thanos is the big bad. Spoiler. And he's a funny guy. He's pretty good. I feel like they could have gotten a better villain, like Spider-Man.
I don't really think they could have gotten a better villain per se. I mean, I think they probably could have done a better job at developing him. I don't want to get super into spoiler territory, but my biggest problem with most of the Marvel movies is the character development's pretty standard, pretty cookie cutter. You know, the characters normally act like themselves. Like in this movie, Tony Stark acts like a pompous asshole, like he always does.
Doctor Strange does too.
Yeah, it's actually kind of funny to see them. It's like them trying to compete for who's the bigger asshole. Surprise! The winner was Star-Lord.
Yeah. That might be a spoiler, I don't know, but yeah. Star-Lord was not himself in this movie.
Yeah,
It was kind of awful. He was probably, unfortunately, the worst part about it.
I don't have my... Oh, there's my phone. I'm gonna look up IMDb and see how much James Gunn had his hand in this movie.
Yeah. And the problem is that MCU is such a big series that the direction of all the movies tend to feel similar, but when it gets to key elements like characters and their development and how they act, it just can be ruined sometimes. So Star-Lord isn't really a character, and a lot of characters are just brushed to the side. Like if it's not one of the big guys like Cap or Tony, then who cares about them? One thing I will say about character development in the MCU is that, although I do agree that pretty much all of it is cookie cutter, one thing that's different is I do think that Captain America has like the best character development in the entire franchise. And he's like the best superhero, which I never thought I would say, because Captain America as a character is kind of boring.
Yeah, I felt Spider-Man in Spider-Man Homecoming had really good character development, because I mean he went through, you know, he learned his lesson, learned about responsibility, and I felt like this movie kind of took that back a bit, because I mean he's pretty gung-ho to defy Tony's orders, and this movie, that's all I'm really going to say about it until we get into the spoiler talk, but I don't know, I just felt like they were just kind of taking it back, you know?
I will say about Spider-Man, without going into spoilers, we'll go back into it later, but Tom Holland was the best actor in this film. He had the best lines, and it was, like, phenomenal.
I agree.
Like, more than I expected, because I like Tom Holland, and I liked Spider-Man Homecoming, but this had, like, yeah, just hands down the best performance by him I've seen.
Something I will say, this movie didn't have nearly as many forced memes as Black Panther did.
That's true. Like, and I love Black Panther. Personally, I'm like the biggest supporter of Black Panther. I think it's like one of the best MCU films. But like the fucking "what are those" meme coming back after it's been dead for 2 billion years was the worst thing I've ever seen, and almost ruined the entire movie for me.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a standout part.
However, much like in Civil War, another fantastic film in my opinion, there's just a lot of pop culture references out of the blue for no reason. It's like, ha 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 ha. Spider-Man does... I don't think this is really that big of a spoiler. Spider-Man does the same thing where it's like, oh, have you ever seen this old movie? And in Civil War, he said Star Wars. And in this one, he says another movie.
Yeah, we're not going to spoil the movie, though.
Yeah.
Because that would be rude.
Yeah.
It's aliens.
It's aliens. Sigourney Weaver. Is Sigourney Weaver in Aliens?
No.
No?
No, I think you're thinking of someone else.
Oh, yeah. Sebastian Stan.
Alright. And, see, I'm trying to think of things to say that won't pertain to spoilers.
It's difficult because this movie is just filled with spoilers. Throughout the entire thing, just things happen. So talking about it as a whole without spoiling things is just like, it was pretty good. And that's all we can say.
Yeah, so fuck it. On to the spoilers.
Alright. So right off the bat, first scene, Loki dies. Dude dies. Idris Elba. Who did he play? What was that guy's name? Bobby.
I don't know the character's name. To be honest, I don't even...
The Keeper. Or the Guardian. Whatever his name is. I'm sorry, Idris Elba. Don't beat me up. Anyway, they both die. Along with pretty much all the Asgardians. It was definitely a big jump to do. It was just like, bam, right off the bat.
I really wasn't expecting them to kill Loki this early in the movie. I wonder if they're probably...
And Loki's died like a billion times in the MCU or whatever. Honestly, though, I think they might stay dead this time. But this movie kills off a lot of people.
Yes, it does. I was genuinely surprised, although I am expecting a majority of them to come back to life because spoiler alert, Spider-Man dies.
Spider-Man dies, and that's the scene I was talking about earlier. Is like it's like only like 10 seconds long, and somehow it's the best performance I've probably seen in an MCU film in general.
Yeah, no, it was a pretty good one. It's pretty good.
He dies in Tony's arms. Because if you don't know, Thanos wants to get all the Infinity Stones so he can go, I guess, and kill half the population of the universe, which doesn't make any sense in the world. Like, he says that he wants to do it to ensure that no one starves. At least that's his weird example.
Yeah, it's a mercy
and I'm like,
thing.
Oh, yes. Or you could do this, which you can bend reality or make whatever you want. And you could just make it so those people have tons of food. Or tons of extra planets that are habitable. Like, or just make the universe bigger.
Yeah, he pretty much becomes God. So, I mean...
So the mercy killing thing just didn't really make sense to me. But, everyone dies. Except Captain, Tony, Falcon. Did Hulk die?
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure him and
Hulk.
Black Widow lived.
Black Widow.
I was really expecting them to kill off Tony. I was genuinely surprised.
I honestly think that Tony Stark's arc is done. I think he should have died in this movie.
He's probably going to die the next movie.
Yeah, they want him to have the big sacrifice. But we know that Spider-Man Homecoming 2 is coming out. So,
yeah.
Unless it's going to be about his best friend, just putting on the Spider-Man suit.
What's that character's name? Ted?
I don't know. Yeah, Ted Kennedy.
we also saw Chappaquiddick, but that's gonna be a different video.
That's the next video. Well, you can watch now on Crunchyroll.com. Sponsored. That's not true.
Yeah, no.
So go. Personally, I know like the movie looks very CG'd, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I think that CG can be really, really beautiful, and I think a lot of the planets they go to and a lot of the scenes that they set up are very phenomenal. I especially like all of Wakanda. Wakanda, I think, is a beautiful place, and especially like the aesthetic of their like shields that they raise their capes and the shields rise up. I like seeing that again.
I think my favorite setting. I don't quite remember what point in the movie this happened, but there's a point where Thanos is in this kind of eclipse along a lakeside, and it really reminded me of Berserk.
When he was laying down Berserk in the water.
Yeah.
It was in I think it was called like Voromir, and it was right after he tried to get the Sunstone from. Red Skull was in the movie.
Oh yeah, how did I forget about that?
Because it was just like a random Red Skull moment. It's like, hey guys, it's been 7 years. It's me, Red Skull.
Yeah, no, I wasn't expecting it, and I was just kind of like, oh,
there he is. Stan Lee had a cameo. He was driving Peter's school bus, and it was a Stan Lee cameo. It's not like it's just like, wow, it's an old man.
Damn, is he old?
It's like, ooh. Sometimes you just think, is he dead? And they stuffed animatronics in his body. Maybe I should have said that.
Yeah, no, it was pretty enjoyable.
Yeah, all of Spider-Man actually did really sell the show. He made everything better.
Yeah, I can't. I hope he becomes like the main kind of.
Yeah, I hope that
showrunner.
In the next wave of Avengers after 4, that it's mostly like Thor. I think that Thor's finally getting to a good point. I think 1 and 2 stiffed him. I think that Thor Ragnarok really made him his own character instead of just being like, I'm the god of thunder.
Yes.
Does that sound like him?
It's pretty close. I think you just need to tweak it a little bit.
Marvel, if you're looking to get a new voice actor for Thor in any animated series, here, watch this. I'm Thor, God of Thunder.
I really like the ending scene where it's just kind of him sitting on that grassy meadow.
Yeah, that was a nice scene. But it just... I said this when we saw it.
Yes.
And I think that the movie, the biggest problem is that it feels incomplete. And I know it was originally called Infinity Wars Part 1 and Part 2. And I feel like they should have just stuck to that. Because not calling it Part 1 and Part 2, it's you give the impression that it's a full movie. And it doesn't feel like a full movie. It feels like they should have just released a 5-hour long movie. And I would have watched it. And most Marvel fans would have watched it.
Yeah, probably.
Think about that. You could pay for one ticket and watch a 5-hour long movie. Wow.
Can you imagine having to like set that up and work other movies around that auditorium? That would be a nightmare.
Just put it in every auditorium a theater has.
What about bathroom breaks? There'd have to be an intermission. There'd have to be like 2 intermissions.
Everybody just brings in a catheter.
True.
True fans.
Yeah, and their catheters have Spider-Man on them.
Their catheters have spiders inside of them.
Oh gosh.
Oh no. Oh god, that. Oh, no, penis hurts. So things you did not like.
Scarlet Witch. I've never been a big fan of Scarlet Witch. I thought she was okay in this movie.
Yeah, she was. This was probably her best role, I think.
Yeah, I think
she was okay in Civil War actually too.
But
it's always just been okay. It seems not ever like.
But anyway, yeah, no, I bought her character in this movie. I was like, oh, okay, I can see that, you know, because she's. Her big gripe is, you know, she has the relationship with the Vision, and the Vision's got the Infinity Stone on his head, and of course they want that, so, she's like the only one who can destroy the Infinity Stone, so the whole movie, it's her dilemma, you know, trying to find a way to, you know, save the Vision. Does he have, like, a real name? Is it Vincent? Or am I just...
I don't know. Vision, I think that's just because she even calls him Viz earlier on in the movie, so I think that's just.
I think that's where I get the Vincent from, because I thought she was calling him Vince.
Because like he was originally Jarvis, but then that was a big part of him. He was Jarvis and Ultron, then Infinity Stone, then parts of Tony and parts of Bruce all fused together in the big one sexy man with a cape.
Yes. But, yeah, so she has to struggle with the dilemma or she has to try to find a way to, you know, save the Vision, or ultimately kill him to keep Thanos from getting the stone. And probably one of my favorite parts of the movie is she destroys the stone, and it's this big heartbreaking scene, and Thanos is basically like, fuck no, reverses time, and then just takes the stone.
You ever played Blink's the Time Sweeper for the original Xbox? Well, if you played that, you would know that that's exactly what Thanos does. He plays a cat with a vacuum that can turn back time.
Oh. How unfortunate.
It's like Thanos. They stole Thanos' arc from Blink's the Time Sweeper about the cat.
I didn't like. I felt Thanos' character development was a bit forced. I didn't really buy it as much because
it's like, oh, I love Gamora. I'm this big evil dude that's obviously a sociopath, but I love Gamora. Well, God, I should just voice act for everyone.
Do like movie dubs.
I'm Thanos. I'm a big fucking baby.
Can we talk about a major thing I did not like in this movie were all the pop culture references.
Yeah, we talked about it a little before. But
yeah, they refer to one of Thanos' soldiers as Squidward. They call Thanos Grimace. They drop another "What are those?"
But that one was unintentional, right? We think
because it happens in a scene where Spider-Man.
But just the way he says
it. Yeah. What are those?
He gets like Doc Ock legs.
Yeah, pretty much.
Things.
I haven't read a whole lot of the comics, so I don't know if that's like comic canon or if that's just something for the movies.
That's just Tony Stark canon.
But I know the movies have been taking a lot of liberties and implementing a lot of fresh new ideas that I pretty much.
They don't even have Tony Stark's gay arc.
What arc?
You know, the one where he's gay.
Anyway.
But yeah, there was too many pop culture references. Thanos was boring as a character. Too many people got brushed aside. It felt like they weren't really there, which is disappointing. Like Falcon and War Machine and Okoye, what's her name? Black Panther's friend. Black Panther himself, actually, he gets brushed aside. He's not even really there. He's just like, I'm the leader of Wakanda.
Get that man a shield.
Yeah, he got to get that man a shield. But Captain America got his cool beard. He was great. Thor was really good in this movie. Peter Dinklage was in it, which was funky. He played a dwarf, but it was a giant dwarf. So it was just Peter Dinklage, big. It kind of looked awkward.
Yeah, I really didn't buy the voice he was doing either.
Yeah, I was like, I'm Peter Dinklage.
You can tell that I've got a deep voice, even though I really don't.
I am big. I will punch you in the butt. But they did make the Stormbreaker, which is a pretty cool axe. Yeah. I don't really know anything about the comics, but it was sick.
Yeah, it was forged with a lot of fire and Groot's arm.
It seems like, oh yeah.
Teenage Groot was awesome, by the way. I really enjoyed it.
Did you?
I
am Groot. Ooh, that sounded just like him. Oh my god.
Disney, yeah.
Disney. Sign me.
Yeah, that I think that was the only legitimate character that felt genuine to the Guardians of the Galaxy characters.
Yeah,
they all just felt super out of character.
Actually, Drax was okay for me, I think.
Drax isn't hard to nail down.
What?
I don't feel like Drax is a very hard character to nail down.
I did like the scene where it was like, I am invisible. That was really good.
I really wanted them to do that later in the movie. Where,
okay, so there's a scene where Gamora and Star-Lord are making out. And then they just see Drax eating chips in the corner, or eating pretzels or something like that.
They were like dragnuts?
Dragnuts, yeah.
Some weird alien term.
And
nuts.
And they're like, how long have you been there? And he's like, an hour. And he's like, I've made it so if I'm perfectly still, I've mastered the art of turning invisible.
And they're like, no, you haven't. He's like, watch. He like slowly starts moving one of the like nuts towards his mouth, and he's like, they're like, we can see that.
And he's like, no, I'm moving so slowly that my movements are imperceivable. And they're like, no, it's not, but it got us talking about Mystery Men.
Yeah.
And the Invisible
How much
Boy
they
in
need
that.
to be in the fucking
They
MCU.
need to be in the MCU. There was a lot of movie.
Yeah.
And that's why it felt incomplete, because when it ended, it was just like, it feels like we didn't really learn anything. Didn't really go anywhere. It was just like, Thanos beat us up like 5 times.
Well, yeah. I don't tend to learn a lot from most of these movies anyway, though.
I feel you, but it's like...
I think the only one that I think had a... Oh, there's my parents' car. The only one that had like a really decent lesson was Homecoming. Because, I mean...
Dude, the Vulture is like the best MCU villain.
I agree.
Michael Keaton was great as him. I also really like Killmonger. I know some people don't, but I really thought Michael B. Jordan hit it out of the park with that. And that's... I prefer my villains to be not just bad for the sake of being bad. Like, to have things, reasons. Thanos is just like... Bleh! And it's just... I couldn't get over that fact, I guess.
Yes. He does that 9 times throughout the movie.
Yeah, he goes... Bleh! And he shoots fire out of his face.
He ejaculates pure acid.
Like the drug? So much stuff happened.
Ant-Man is under home arrest.
Oh yeah, Ant-Man and Hawkeye are both under home arrest. House arrest, whatever it's called. And that's the worst thing I've ever heard.
I really hope the next movie is just Ant-Man trying to break out of house. Like, I want Infinity Wars to be going on in the background.
And Ant-Man's trying to get out of the house, but he can't.
Yeah, because he's under house arrest. And he's a shitty superhero, so he just has a hard time.
Don't you make fun of Paul Rudd. But it was just dumb. It was like, well, they're under house arrest, so they can't help us. I'm like, make up a better excuse than that. Like, I know Ant-Man's going to be in this next Avengers, but I'm like, make up a better excuse, please.
Like, as a whole, what do you think you would rate this movie?
As a whole, I like the movie. You know, I thought it was good. I think the MCU is finally getting into its groove, which is really weird. I think that the new movies are way better than a lot of the older ones.
I agree.
Which is definitely weird that they've gotten to be this far, when I thought that the first ones were... Personally, I really don't like the first Iron Man, even though I love Jon Favreau. But anyway, I would give this movie a 7 big ones out of 10. 7. That's 1 7. That's not a single 7 out of 10. 10 as in 10 ones. So 10 in total. Or 2 5s.
I'd probably give it a 6 out of 10.
6. 6 1. Or 1 6 out of 10. Which is 5 2s.
6 is 2 3s, or 3 2s, 6 1s, 1 6. Just do something pretty climactic to end this video.
Oh! Then you put like a fake screen smash, and it's like... Oh, can I break the camera?
You know, for the sake of the video, sure, why not?
Okay, I'll do something climactic. Okay, ready? I'm a Ween. He's a Ween. Together we watch screens. Oh!
Alright. That kills a third of the battery.
That was great.